Assalamualaikum and good day everybody. My name is Umar Idraki bin Muhammad Noor. Today I'll be presenting about Raspberry Pi based design and Android thermal surveillance robot, supervised by Dr. Safa Najah Saud. Much like COVID-19 pandemic, there are a lot of thermal surveillance system and method used to curb the pandemic, like guards standing at the entrance, all these complicated thermal camera system at the entrance of a building. Yes, most of the available systems that I mentioned just now are good. However, checking temperature is known to be important because when we know certain temperatures reached, whether it's dangerously high or dangerously low, further action can be taken and then we have the upper hand. Constant mentoring can cause fatigue sometimes, especially for human. Like we see, all the guards at the mall, sometimes they have to stand and wait around all the monitoring system. So this leads us to the problem statement. The objective of this project are to design of a vision-based people tracking system working on a real mobile robot using Raspberry Pi microcontroller. And the second objective is to develop an efficient heuristic tracking algorithm enabling tracking of a varying number of persons based on a combined thermal and color information. Novelty and significance. The novelty of this project is that the project is a real mobile robot with facial recognition and thermal surveillance. Other than that, it will show temperatures reading through color information. It is also a fully automated with a built-in image capturing system for surveillance purposes. The significance of this project is an automatic approach that can use a mobile with robo systems and a wall-mounted Pi and thermal cameras to detect breaches in social distancing norms. It is also a novel method to classify non-compliant people into different groups in statistic or dynamic movement. So this is the flowchart for the path navigation of the robot, which is very simple. The path navigation is actually a line following path navigation. So actually it checks for obstacle. If there's no obstacle, then it moves for checking the black line. If it's outside of the black line, whether it's right or left, it will correct itself, and then it will continue following the line until the black line is not detected anymore. So this is the flowchart for the thermal surveillance, which is the camera capturing the IR images and the facial recognition detecting human, and then the IR camera, which is to check the temperature and the color aliasing, and then to display it to the LCDs. This is the block diagram of this project, which is as you can see, the Raspberry Pi is the center of the block diagram, and the thermal camera, all the sensors are going into the Raspberry Pi, which controls the human detection and thermal reading, and the automatic surveillance and obstacle detection, which is the movement of the robot. Result of prototype. So as you can see, this is a children's ride-on toy chassis, which is programmed by the Raspberry Pi to move like the line pulling robot. And as you can see, it is mounted with the LCD screen along with the Raspberry Pi camera and the thermal camera as standalone. This is the result of the facial recognition and thermal imaging result. As you can see, the facial recognition is able to recognize my face through OpenCV, and then the thermal imaging is able to provide colored images along with the temperature, which is shown below. The estimated value of this prototype is around 2K to 2.5K. Market potential includes Malaysian airports, malls, hospitals, and family parks, anywhere that is big for the robot to move around. So recommendation, they improve the hardware. So basically the hardware is right now currently using Raspberry Pi 4 Model B, which is 4 RAM. Increasing the RAM would be a good way of improving the overall performance of this project. And then other than that is applying heatsink and fan to cool down the Raspberry Pi, thus avoiding it to be lagging and sometimes crash. And then other than that, add more relevant features based on the project applies, like let's say it's for more specific surveillance, like at the airport you can apply to detect someone facial recognition and set off an alarm or notification, which is IoT. And other than that, it also can be added IoT to for the thermal camera, which is also should be integrated with the Raspberry Pi, so that it can capture the image of thermal and then send it to the authorities of a person who is actually having a dangerous amount of bodily temperature.